about what is based your system. I know that there is a lot of research. You mentioned this, that there is a lot of research. If you can briefly explain about this research.
Sure. So, like many other people in the martial art community, I thought I was teaching self-defense. And in 1980, one of my students got his ass kicked in what should have been a self-defense situation. It was a fight in school, some grabbing, some movement. And when he debriefed me after, he just got punched out. And I was like surprised. Hey, how come you didn't do this? How come you didn't do the moves we taught? And as he was explaining how he had grabbed the guy and he was holding his school books and what the guy did, it was just a 15-year-old fight, in school. I realized, holy shit, we teach self-defense wrong, meaning we, the world. We teach self-defense like a carpenter, the carpenter who thinks he's the architect, going, I had to put the bathroom over there. Well, that's too late now. I mean, like, you didn't understand the design of everything. That's the 3Ds. So back in the day, I was teaching a blend of boxing, of taekwondo, of wrestling, and putting it together. This is pre-UFC, this is like in the late 70s. And when I was teaching my students, I was just teaching them the physical stuff. I was the carpenter. Here's how you hammer a nail. Here's how you saw something. Oh, here's how you break this wood and shove it in here, right? And so because I was very passionate about it, when my student lost, it bothered me so much because I felt an obligation as his coach. What did I not do? Now, I could have been like other coaches and said, well, you didn't turn your hip, or who told you to have your books in your hand. I could have blamed him, but I didn't. I blamed myself, and it bothered me, and I thought about it, and what I did immediately with him was I replicated the scenario. I said, show me how you were standing, how close you grabbed me like that, how were you holding your books, what did he do? And we spent like 20 minutes recreating it in slow motion and looking at all the things you could do. So, we learn in martial arts, we learn how to do stuff on a tatami mat or in a boxing ring or in a cage or up against it. And we set up the equipment and we set up the move so that we can do the counter. But in the real fight in the street, the bad guy controls the location. The bad guy controls the move. You can't, set up a situation where you can do your favorite counter. And so I very soon started, anytime I taught self-defense, which was only my focus, we always did scenario stuff. Seated, two people, up against a wall, in a crammed space, and we separated the skill development, the physical movement, whether it was, elbows and palm strikes and whatever we were doing, and then we put it into a scenario. And slowly, we developed kind of like the moves that we knew you could pull off at very close quarter. Because real fights happen at really close quarter, right? Somebody grabs you and you turn, somebody's on your throat, somebody hits you and it's always close quarter. Then about 10, 12 years later, I was doing a drill that we videotaped where I had a student try to sucker punch me. And he was wearing 16-ounce boxing gloves, I was wearing a mouth guard, and we were just standing there and we would just start talking literally within arm's reach. So we'd be like this and we would just be talking, and the hand is quicker than the eye at that distance. So he would say something and I'd start talking to him, and then all of a sudden, wham, punch would come across. And I was getting, boom, boom, I was getting nailed. But I did this, I spent, I don't remember how long, maybe an hour doing the drill or more. At the end of it, I had mouse under both eyes, like, the beginning of a black eye, fat lip, bleeding in my mouth, headache, because I was getting drilled. We weren't sparring. He'd say, hey, which way to downtown? And I'd go, yeah, you go, if you head that way, whap, a shot would come in. And it was scary for me because I was like, what the hell am I doing? What kind of drill is this? But I knew I was onto something. As you know from our training, we say all fights are dangerous, but the most dangerous fight is the ambush. And so when we looked at the video after, every time that I truly flinched, the punch or the headbutt or the grab or whatever hit my forearm, hit my elbow, hit my shoulder. So I'd be saying, hey man, he might say, hey, the boss wants his money. Like we were just doing, I would go, whatever he said, I would go with to keep it like a scenario as opposed to sparring. He'd say the boss wants his money, and I go, man, I'd put my hands in my pocket. I go, I got no money. My hands would be down. punch would come in, and my hands are here, my hands would come up, boom, it hit my hand, bounce off me, and I was pushing away danger. And we looked at that and it was like, what the hell is that? Now, all these years later, it was like an archaeologist discovering there's a part of our body's physiology called the startle flinch response. It's 80,000 years old. It's a DNA that's been in us since Paleolithic times. So I make a joke now. I tell people, hey, this is caveman kung fu. This is how cavemen fought, except they weren't boxing with each other. It was a saber-toothed tiger. Oh shit, you'd push away danger. And so what we've done, the foundation of the spear system is two things in a nutshell. One is we only use movements that are hardwired in our body. That means everybody can do it regardless of gender, age, right? They don't have to male, female, 50 years old, 70 years old, 30 years old. And then we only work on movements as they connect to scenarios. So we don't do, what if a ninja jumps out of this over here, or, and we separate the categories. There's martial arts categories. There's combat sport categories, boxing, sambo, MMA, and then there's self-defense, and that's the smallest category. Everyone over here in category 1 and 2 think they teach self-defense, but respectfully they don't. They teach fighting. And fighting can be used for self-defense, but it doesn't teach true self-defense. And so what we do, if you think about the relationship to CrossFit, okay, movements that are elemental and fundamental to your survival so that you are prepared for the unknown and the unknowable. That doesn't sound like the CrossFit Games. That sounds like a fight. That sounds like survival. And so the original charter of CrossFit as written by Coach Glassman was that. That was the exact language. And when I first heard that in 2006, I was like, damn, that sounds like our stuff. And that's why Coach Glassman and I are very, very close. And when we got to talk finally in 2006, he said back then, he says, we got to do something. The spear system is, what CrossFit is to fitness, the spear system is to self-defense. There you go. Translate.
Ok. La ricerca di Coach Blauer è decennale e citava appunto una drill che ha fatto, questa del Sucker Punch, dove si ha chiesto a un suo allievo di colpirlo con questo Sucker Punch, con questo pugno improvviso, e lui tentava di usare le mosse che aveva memorizzato durante le sue esperienze marziali. E registrava il tutto tramite una videocamera. Quello che ha notato è che quando si impegnava a usare le mosse che aveva memorizzato, 1 su 2 di colpi veniva preso. Invece un'altra cosa importante che aveva visto analizzando il tape è che quando reagiva in maniera spontanea allo stimolo molto improvviso, riusciva a deviare in qualche modo, a parare, a bloccare i colpi che arrivavano. E questo, esaminandolo, ha portato a quello che è il suo spear system. Fondamentalmente spear system significa che le risposte spontanee accelerano una reazione. Spontaneous protection enable accelerate response. Usare qualcosa che è innato nel DNA, indipendentemente dal genere o dall'età, per difendersi e cavarsene una situazione di aggressione. Questo è il miglior riassunto che posso fare in questo brevissimo tempo. L'altra cosa interessante secondo me che ha detto che è diviso in 3 ambiti. Lui diceva che ci sono 3 ambiti: quello che è le arti marziali, lo sport da combattimento e il self-defense. Ok, i primi 2 ambiti non sono self-defense. Tu puoi usare i tool che hai imparato negli altri 2 ambiti, ma non simuleranno mai esattamente uno scenario di aggressione. Ed è quello su cui si basa il suo sistema. Infatti citava che durante le drill si dà cura al fatto di replicare uno scenario, in modo tale da rendere la cosa più a 360 gradi. A 3 dimensioni, come dice il coach Blauer: quella fisica, emotiva e psicologica.